Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we'll be playing in the IS-4. In the latest update of the game, the IS-4 got some buffs, and it also got some nerfs. Nerfs? Accuracy. Big time. You'll notice when I'm driving this thing, it's going to be a very large aiming circle. Not only that, its DPM went from around 2,800 to now 2,500. So in terms of the gun, the IS-4 got rather substantial nerfs. But it also got massive buffs. Its armor is way stronger. The upper plate got 20 millimeters buffed. The lower plate got 20 millimeters buffed. The side armor got 20 millimeters buffed. And when you pair that with the fact that the IS-4 also now features more heat pen, it definitely is a stronger vehicle in terms of holding. Now, I will still say, this is not the OG IS-4. The original IS-4 still had more hit points, and I would still argue that it had more reliable armor. But what Wargaming's done here is they've kind of put it in between. It has good armor, and it has a gun that's pretty dangerous, but it also features more mobility than the OG IS-4. And I think that's a good combination, where it has the strengths of the mobile IS-4, and it also has the strengths of the OG IS-4, which kind of place it in this, this kind of do-it-all capability, which I think is nice. Now, we have the enemy grill who does shoot my U-100, and I'm not able to hit the grill in return. Actually, I am able to hit the grill in return. Nice, okay. It's a good shot. The grill's gonna poke, and we're just gonna aim in... I don't want to get shot by the grill. Let's see. Aiming. Of course, I get shot. The 62 gets spotted, and I get shot. That's so cringe. Whatever. Oh, well. We have a lot of hit points, so it's not that big of a deal. Not sure what to do here, though. Well, we got the enemy grill. We got the Type 71. Boom. Nice 377 into the Type. Got the enemy Sheridan, who foolishly pushed my 62A. Not really sure what the thought process was there, but clearly it's a Sheridan player. And Sheridan players don't have much of a thought process. We're going to put on our speed boost, and we're going to try and push this enemy Type 71. Here we go. Boom. 402 damage into the rear of that player. This is where, obviously, the DPM is definitely going to be a lot worse than the OG, or not the OG, but the previous IS-4. But thankfully, it's still not bad in terms of DPM, right? You still got 2,500. It's enough to get the job done. But, yeah, the reload's definitely longer. You're sitting at around 10 seconds of reload versus the... What was the reload before? 8 seconds? So it's definitely going to be quite a bit longer on that reload. And, yeah, I mean, you'll notice that. We only did about 2,900 damage this game, which is fine. We didn't play super aggressive until our team was starting to steamroll them. I'm just so used to playing passive now because I've been trying to gun mark my vehicles, and the IS-4 is one of those tanks that I don't love to play super aggressive in, but we did fine. Second on the team. Our Concept 1B got a pretty good farm, but that's because, as many of you are aware, the Concept 1B is probably one of the most overpowered tier 10s in the game now. I've been saying this for a while, but giving a Concept, a vehicle that is virtually unpennable, hull down, a double shot gun is a really bad decision, and it should have stayed the way it was. But Wargaming disagreed. They wanted to give it a 300 or a 380 double shot, so now it's able to deal 760 damage. And it's not a shocker that almost every game I've played, there's been a Concept on my team or the enemy team. But we're here to talk about the IS-4. And so far, as you saw in that first game, it felt fine. We didn't really get to show the armor, but basically, it's great at side scraping. And its upper plate is still pretty weak, I will say that. Like, gold shells are going to go right through your upper plate. If you think that this thing's going to... reliably get bounces when on flat ground. It's not, You might get the occasional bounce on the track wheel, but in terms of, like, reliable armor, gold shells are going to go right through this thing's upper plate. You gotta remember, calibrated shells exists, most players are running it, and Cali has kind of broken the balance of heavies. You can cut right through an E100, you can cut through most tier 10s with Cali. So because of that, while this thing does have very good armor, it's definitely nothing insane. That's really the easiest way to describe it. Now, of course, we have a Concept 1B on the ridgeline, and because it has a double shot gun now, there's not much of a counter I can make against that player, but we can at least gold through the enemy U100 turret, so that's nice. Yeah, this is bad. This is just one of those examples of where we don't really do anything. Can't hit the Mirat. I was kind of hoping for a second there they'd poke, and they're so close to poking, but just not enough. We have the E4 in the back, and... oh, look at that. The IS-4 gun, by the way, still has actually decent accuracy, in terms of its base dispersion, once you're fully aimed in, it is pretty good still. And that does allow the IS-4 to hit its shots. Unfortunately, I don't even know how that didn't pen, but it didn't. But either way, we're up to 800 damage, which isn't too bad. And we have been slowly dealing with the enemy. There you go. Nice pen into the enemy concept. And we can see where the track wheels do eat a lot of damage, right? That concept did not pen us there. The track wheel ate the shot, and we got a bounce, which is pretty nice. What sucks is that I still can't really counter that enemy concept on that ridgeline. It's basically an impenetrable tank. Yeah, I mean, where do I pen that thing, dude? And he just goes right through me. This is just no counter. There is literally no counter to that tank. The only counter is my teammate making an aggressive play, and maybe... yeah, we'll just wait for the Yag to angle more towards me. The only counter is for me to kind of wait here. This is going to push that concept back, because our team's playing very aggressive, as we can see. Alright, and... still can't pen the concept, even at that angle in the turret. That's just so dumb. Either way, we get a pen into the Yag, which is quite nice. We do get penned in return, but we're doing okay here. Now we're going to reload. We're naming on the enemy IS-4. We can get an idea of the armor. And you can see, like, the lower plate's still obviously pretty weak. And the upper plate is pretty strong, but we can still gold through it if we want to. Alright, let's reload. And there you go. Another pen into the IS-4's lower plate. Get a bounce from the concept. But this is exactly what the IS-4 is good at now, right? This is exactly what it's meant to do. It's meant to get bounces. And you can see there, like, when the thing does get into a side scrape, it's pretty dang strong. So that is exactly the IS-4 and what it's meant to do. It's, like, look at this thing. Like, at that angle there, it's really hard for me to reliably pen. And previously, that would have just been the easiest gold ever. I mean, this thing's got 380 mils of gold pen, and yet we're struggling to cut through. Also, I guess I should have loaded more gold, because we're basically out of it at this point, which is a bit of a problem, I will admit myself. We got to overpoke the C100 to pen him. This team's pretty bad, I will admit. Let's see, is the minnow... okay, the minnow is driving over. Let's aim it on the enemy E100. There you go. Minnow is going to get the clear, which is pretty nice, and that leaves us with just 2 tanks left. But this was a much better game to really show the IS-4, right? I mean, you got to see the enemy IS-4's armor profile, and it's such a good example of where this thing is very, very unreliable to cut through. And yeah, I mean, I had to use a lot of gold to cut through that guy. I'm going to put a couple more gold shells on this vehicle, because we went right through our gold reserves. But yeah, the IS-4 feels really strong now. We did 4,400 damage that game. We absolutely dominated the enemies, and we even got a first class, so felt really, really solid there. But damn, that concept when that thing's all down is so scary. Thankfully, that player in the concept wasn't too dangerous, but when you go up against a good player in the concept, you're going to have to be really, really cautious. I think 12 gold shells is plenty. I don't think we're gonna need more than that. All right, 2 more games in the IS-4. But yeah, I am totally happy with how this thing performs, how it plays. You're basically forced to load gold now to pen this thing, where previously that was obviously never the case. Now we have 2 4005s in platoon up against us, and we have 2 Karos. Not sure how that's a fair combination, but alright. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best here, but I have a feeling we're not gonna have any support on the heavy flank, and we can see that here. Our Stridsvon K appears like they're gonna go... I don't know what our Stridsvon's doing. Originally they were gonna go to the medium flank, but now they're going to the heavy flank. Alright, well, that's good. Oh god, we have Monster Boo Boo on our team. For those of you that don't know, Monster Boo Boo is a really, really interesting player. That's what I'll say. I won't be surprised if they absolutely throw their tank away in the first minute of the battle. Alright, so we got 2 4005s, and because of that, I can't really play aggressive. I gotta be really, really cautious here. I am gonna poke, though, and we'll see if anybody tries cutting through mid. Okay, we got the Kron, we got the Yo. Man, that's just a really scary lineup in general in the enemy team. A Kron and a Yo and 2 4005s, an E3, like... they got as much dangerous tanks as I can think of. We're going to use my repair kit there and back up. Obviously, I do not want to be in a position where those players can shoot me. Okay, well, great. We're being shot by the lion on the other side, and we're going to be penned. Oh, actually, we're not going to be penned. Where did my Stridsvon go? I guess he just left me? Like, what? Where did my Stridsvon go, dude? Oh, that's so dumb. All right, let's aim it on the E3. Aw, dang it. Shell just missed the lower plate. That's fine, though. We'll back up. And we're going to get into a side scrape here. Let's see. Interesting. Not really sure what the C3 is doing, but looks like they have decided to, I'm not really sure. There you go. Get a nice pen into the E3, and gonna put on my adrenaline, gonna put on my speed boost so we can angle it. Ah, dang, but he still manages to cut right through me. However, good job, dude. I hope that was worth it for you. I don't really understand the thought process sometimes. I really don't. Dude basically killed himself to do that. We have the enemy Kron, which we bounce. There's still a tank on our side. It's an E50M, and nobody on our team's doing anything about him, so I'm just not going to poke that position anymore. That's an okay spot, but problem with that spot is that enemies can obviously shoot you in the side on medium flank if your team doesn't counter them. By the way, you can see the armor's working great. We've already blocked 2,600 HP this game. Wish my Stridvan wasn't, like, perfectly eating that position there. I gotta poke more like this. There you go. Nice shot into the enemy. Yo, and we back up. Alright. 2,000 damage dealt. Pretty good stuff. Reloading. 3, 2, 1. Alright, we got our shells back. They still have both those 4005s, which is obviously really scary. Well, that 4005's not looking at me right now, so we're going to get a pen into him. Bad roll, but we still pen it. And the thing is, that 14005's on reload. I know that for a fact, so I can poke this guy, aiming on his track wheel. There you go. Another low roll, but we're bleeding him out, and that's pretty good. The problem is the 4005 has 3,300 DPM. Why Wargaming decided to give that thing that much DPM, the world will literally never know. But yeah, it has that much DPM, so it's pretty stupid. Okay. You know what, though? Your game's over. It is definitely over. Well, you know what? My game could be over, too. Because, once again, the Stridsvan just disappears. I don't know where the Stridsvan's going, but he's not very helpful. There you go. Now the Stridsvan moves up. Obviously, helps me out. We get a pen into the 4005, and I was hoping we could get the ram. But yeah, not a bad game. Another 4,000 damage. And this was a good example, right? I mean, against tank destroyers, especially when you're poking with your track wheel exposed, you're going to be penned. But I didn't really care if I was penned at that point, because we already were at a lot of damage, and I was just trying to get that little last chunk out. And there you go, 4,500 damage dealt. We lived with 11 health left. Previously, we would not have lived because of the hit point difference. So, yeah, I mean, this thing's been doing great. Let's take a look at the post-game results here. There you go. We blocked so much. We only got a second class, which is really weird. We got a first class in the last game, but a second class in this one. We did way more in this battle. That makes no sense, but yeah, pretty chill experience either way. So let's do one final game in the IS-4, and let's see if we can keep it up. Hopefully, it'll do well. I actually don't even know how many games we've played in it, but I think we've played 3 games so far, right? Yeah, we had the 3,000 damage game on Rockfield, then we had the Port Bay game, then we just had that one, so this is our final game. Up against us, we got a VK-72 BZ-176, we got an E6. I'm actually interested to go up against the E6 because, as many of you are aware, the vehicle did get nerfed in the latest update on the turret armor on the cheeks and hatch, which I'm very happy about. It's going to stop the E6 from being as cringe. Alright, well, we are going to move on over to base C. And, again, we got our speed boost active. The IS-4 is still pretty mobile with its speed boost, which is nice. I'm glad that it's still kept it because it still allows it to get into position at least decently quick, we can see. Keeping up with the BZ-75, even the E6 on our team, which is pretty solid. So that's quite nice. They probably have tanks in mid, but not much I can really do about that. Can't even spot it. What do they have? Ah, T100 LT. What a shocker. Alright, keep on going. We got a 580 bounce. That's from the enemy 4005. Alright. And, yeah, we're going to keep moving in here. Let's see, we got the VK-72. Aiming, and boom. There you go. Nice 335 gold shell. Of course, we got shot in the side by the enemy T100. Just going to reload. And bonk. There you go. Another 370. It's pretty good stuff. It's already a pretty solid chunk of the enemy's HP taken away. Love to be able to hit that VK-72, but just not able to. Also, it looks like it was not a 4005 that bounced me, but actually a Waffenträger. Alright. Well, we are going to push up here. WT was in the back right there, but yeah, we're going to move over here, and we're going to get into a side scrape against this VK. We're going to see if I can pen them. Bonk. There you go. And look at that. We get the bounce that I was looking for. Unfortunately, we're tracked in the open. Oh, but we still get a bounce. You'll notice one very annoying thing about the IS-4, and that is that everybody shoots the track wheel. And it's fine. Like, I got bounces, but it's also really annoying when everybody shoots the track wheel because they just stop you from being able to do anything when you're obviously pinned like that. So the WT shoots again. We're going to aim it on the VK. We get a pen. And now I'm going to put on my speed boost, and I'm going to send this WT. He's going to run, but we're moving up as well. And let's aim it on the rear. Boom. There you go. That was actually better than a penning shell because it literally locks him down. We're just going to wiggle our tank. WT doesn't shoot me anyway. All right, keep on going. Of course, of course. We got the 4005 in mid who shoots me for 500. All right. We're going to side scrape here. And boom. There you go. Another nice 413. Look how much we've blocked. 2,300 damage block so far. And at this point, this guy's cooked. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you go, dude. You're done. Get out of my game. Team is doing okay at this point. Oh, actually, it wasn't a 4005 that shot me. I think it was a BZ-176. But yeah, we're doing pretty good so far. We've blocked a lot. We've dealt a decent amount of damage. And I'm going to move in now. See if the BZ is going to go over here or not. Again, you can see the mobility on the IS-4 is still pretty good as well. Oh, there's the T100, which we get a nice snap into. That's obviously pretty good. We're just going to chill here and not get a bounce from you. And we get a pen into the enemy BZ. That T100 killing my driver really, really freaking sucks, dude. Okay, well, we're going to head this way. And oh my god, this is terrible. My driver dying screwed me. It absolutely screwed me. I have no support from my team, and because of that, I'm just done now, you know? Absolutely cooked. Oh well. It's just aiming on the enemy BZ. Yep. Oh well. Oh well. Nothing you can do. The game was actually pretty frustrating because I had seen my BZ-75 shoot the BZ-176 when he drove out into the open before. So I assumed that our BZ-75 was going to continue overlooking that player and support me. What ended up happening is they ignored me, went over to help the E6, and because of that, I got punished. I still had a pretty good game. I did 3,366 damage. We blocked an absolute boatload of damage. But you also saw one of the big downsides of the IS-4. If you decide to run double consumable like I did, you have a very common issue. Two issues. First of all, this thing constantly gets tracked. You saw that against the VK-72. Everybody shoots this thing in the track wheel. And not having two repair kits means that you sometimes are locked down for a long time. Second problem is that when your modules die and you've used your repair kit, you don't have the ability to fix a module. The IS-4's driver dies very commonly. And as you saw, my driver dying literally screwed me. If my driver didn't die, I probably could have gotten in the cover and I would have been able to at least turn around and get an additional shell out or stop the T100 from poking me. But because my driver died, I just couldn't turn around, so I knew I was screwed at that point. So there's definitely moments where the IS-4's mobility now being worse, paired with the fact that it also doesn't have the option of consumables sometimes, it can definitely feel a bit poor. But in general, all four games we played, we did basically over 3,000 damage. We dominated everything in front of us, and the IS-4 felt very enjoyable. So it's a team-dependent tank now. I will say that. You are reliant on your teams. You don't have the DPM to rip out into the enemies to, you know, get everything done. And you don't have the mobility to really carry games like you could before. But what you do have is the armor to get bounces. All the games we played, there was a consistent theme of blocking over 2,500. The game on Alpenstadt, we blocked like 2,600. The game we just played, we blocked like 3K. The thing just blocks damage like crazy. And because of that, the old IS-4 is back. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.